Little Miss Lucky's Friend. Roger Hargreaves. It was Sunday, and Little Miss Lucky had invited Little Miss Bossy, Mr. Uppity, and Mr. Grumble to her house. What do you think she had invited them for? For lunch, perhaps, or for tea, or to relax in her pretty garden. No, if Little Miss Lucky invited Little Miss Bossy, Mr. Uppity, and Mr. Grumble for anything, it was to play a board game. Little Miss Lucky is always incredibly lucky when it comes to playing board games, and so she is always incredibly keen to play. "I won again!" complained Mr. Grumble, after he had thrown the dice. "Me too!" cried Little Miss Bossy. "That's the 5th time that's happened to me." "A won again. This is a terrible game," said Mr. Uppity rudely. But not everyone was rolling ones. Watch Little Miss Lucky. 6. A6. Little Miss Lucky had won the game. It must have been her lucky day. The friends were most annoyed, and so they decided to try a different game in the garden. A game of skittles. "Little Miss Lucky can start," said Mr. Uppity. "Then she'll be out first." Little Miss Lucky was just about to throw the ball when a beautiful, colourful butterfly flew by. Little Miss Lucky was looking at the butterfly instead of looking at the skittles. Whoosh! She threw the ball in completely the wrong direction. Bonk! Little Miss Lucky's ball hit a tree, bounced off it, and knocked down every last skittle. She had won again. Little Miss Lucky's friends had had enough. They all went home, complaining that Little Miss Lucky's games were silly. Poor Little Miss Lucky was very sad to see them leave so soon. "Nobody will ever play with me," she told Mr. Bump, who was passing by. "Everyone says I am just too lucky." "Too lucky?" exclaimed Mr. Bump. "That can't be right. Perhaps you'd like to play with me. But before we do, let's take a walk down the street." The road seemed to be full of dangers for Mr. Bump. If there is ever something for Mr. Bump to bump into, he is sure to bump into it. And if there is anything to fall into, Mr. Bump is sure to fall into it. Mr. Bump didn't seem to have any luck at all. "How is it possible that you are so unlucky?" said Little Miss Lucky, shocked by all his accidents that day. "It's quite extraordinary. You didn't break anything, I hope?" "No," said Mr. Bump. "No more than normal, at least. Now for a game of skittles." Mr. Bump picked up a ball. He did a little run-up, a turn, and threw the ball as hard as he could. The ball took off at an incredible speed, bounced off a tree trunk, bonk! And hit Mr. Bump on the head, knocking him right into the skittles. Wham! The skittles were knocked down in one clean sweep. "Good shot!" cried Little Miss Lucky. "Congratulations, Mr. Bump." Little Miss Lucky was delighted. She had found a friend to play games with at last. "Well done, Mr. Bump! Some o' my good luck must have rubbed off on you," said little Miss Lucky, as Mr. Bump threw another six, so hard that it bumped him and the dice into the corner of the room. I hope some of her good luck will rub off on you too. Thank you for listening.